back out in the garage. We're doing a top end rebuild on this. I have a video for that. But while we're at it, we got the motor out. It's due for clutch plates, so we're going to do some new clutch plates, change the oil. So just want to do a quick video on that. And this video is for, you know, somebody that's never done it before. It's your first time and you just kind of want some verification that you're doing it right. It's not the hardest thing in the world. You know, again, we're just changing out the clutch plates and the oil. We're not going any deeper than that. So to start off, well, the first thing you got to do, you got to drain your fluids on the bottom of the motor. That's a 17 millimeter head drain plug. So set yourself up where you can open that up, drain it into a container. I wouldn't save the oil. You're going through this trouble and you're putting new clutch plates in, so you want to definitely use some new stuff. There's your oil fill. You might want to open that up as you're draining. That'll help let some air in there so it'll drain completely. Okay, we're going to take the side case off the side of the motor where the clutch plates are. You have 5 bolts there. They're 8 millimeter heads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take them off and we're going to see what's going on inside. Okay, once you get your side cover off, what you're going to find inside is 5 more bolts that got to come out. They're 10 millimeter heads, and behind here are going to be springs. So do it slowly, I guess I would say, but also do a star pattern when you're taking these off. And I don't think I mentioned that when I took the jug apart the other day. Even something like that, you always want to take things off and tighten them up in a star pattern. In other words, you're going to start here, you're going to go across from it, then across, then across, then across. That keeps things from getting warped or putting pressure on one side and messing something up. If you didn't do it, you might be okay, but it's just a precaution. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those 5 bolts and go from there. Okay, that's what the bolts and springs look like once you get them out. And there's tolerances for these springs. I'm still waiting on our repair manual. It should have all those specs in it. I'm hoping it gets here today or tomorrow. So that's what you're looking at now. So at this point, you should be able to get your clutch basket off. And there's your clutch basket. So basically now, inside here you got your clutch plates. Forget how many are in here. But the best way to get these out usually is to get like a pick tool and get back to the furthest back plate, and usually you can pull them all out in one shot. And just keep track of which way you took them out. You know, you should put them back in the same order, assuming that they're good and that we're not replacing them. Okay, back out in the garage today. Today I'm working on the CR125 clutch. This is the kit I picked up on eBay. It's made by Tusk, so that's a brand I trust. I've used them for other parts in the past. You get a quart of 80W85. You get the 5 new springs. You get a new seal. You get a new crush washer for the drain plug, and of course you get the clutch plates and the metal plates as well. So the whole kit was $79, free shipping, and it came pretty quick. I want to say I ordered it like on Wednesday, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, and I got it today. Today's Saturday, so like 2 or 3 days. I'll call it 3 days. But that's the part number for the seal. That's the springs. I don't know if that's actually a part number. It looks like a shipping number. And then that's the clutch plates. But again, it came in a kit, so just look it up on eBay. Like I said, it came to like 80 bucks. But so I'm going to go ahead and get these out of the box, and I'm going to compare it to the old clutch plates. there's tolerances that you can go by if you have a caliper, which I do somewhere, but it's I need a metric one. Mine's standard, and I haven't picked up a metric one yet, but I'm just changing these out, so I'm not worried about measuring anything because there's not much left to those. Don't take a rocket scientist to figure out they need to be replaced. Plus the clutch handle had to be out 80% of the way before you even started moving, so I'm just going to replace them. Of course, the springs too, there's tolerances for those, so if you have a manual or if you can find it online and you're just taking it apart just to check it, check your tolerances, but if you're going to replace it, it's not necessary. Okay, so our first step we want to do is take our clutch plates and we're going to soak them in oil. We're obviously going to use the oil that we're using in the transmission case. You want to soak these for a minimum of a few hours. I'm probably going to soak them overnight or at least 12 hours. It's like 1 o'clock or so in the afternoon. If I get antsy, I might come out later on tonight, 8-9 o'clock, so at least that'd be 8-9 hours. But overnight, you got them soaked good. 2-3 hours, you're probably pushing your luck a little bit. I would wait at least 6 to 8 hours. So anyway, I take an old water jug and cut it open. I like to use water jugs because there's no contaminants in it. A little bit of water that was left in there obviously dry out. We're going to take this bread tie off, and we're going to take these and just put them in the bucket, and we're going to make sure that they're covered with the oil, and we're going to let them sit. Alright, the next day, these have been soaking overnight, so they're definitely should be good to go. So we're just going to take them out, set them down on some clean paper we have here, and then we're going to start installing them. Okay, we're getting ready to put these plates in. The order you're going to do is start with a clutch plate, metal plate, clutch plate, metal plate, until you're out of plates. So we're going to go ahead and start that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start with our first clutch plate. Then a metal plate. One side is kind of flat. The other side is, I would call it tapered. Face that out and make sure you stay consistent. And these are pretty tight, so got to get lined up just right. So now that you got all your clutch plates in and your metal spacers, obviously you're keeping track as you're putting them in, clutch plate, metal plate, clutch plate, etc. But when you're all done, obviously the last one that you should have in there is a clutch plate. So just make sure. Sometimes I get daydreaming and I can screw that up. So now we're going to put our pressure plate in, and then once we get that in, we'll be putting our new springs in. Okay, so once you get your springs in there, go ahead and get your 5 bolts. It's a 10 millimeter head. Put those in, get them all started, 3 or 4 turns. Once you do that, then you can go ahead and snug them up, use your star pattern, and get them snug. Once you get those snug by hand, don't go crazy on them, get them snug, and then from there, you want to use a torque wrench. Calls for 7 foot-pounds, so set your torque wrench up for 7 foot-pounds, and again, especially when you're torquing them, make sure you definitely go in your star pattern. Torque those down, and you should be good to go. If you don't have a torque wrench, you could snug them and then give them a little extra and call it a day. Personally, I wouldn't. I would torque them down. It's pretty important. If these loosen up, obviously you're going to have issues. But if you're in a pinch, make sure that you get them tight enough, but don't go so tight that you could be doing damage to the clutch plates. Once that's complete, just put your cover back on. The kit that I got had a new seal comes with it. Sometimes when you put these, I'll call them round type O-ring seals in, when you get them on, or trying to get them on, you get to the last spot you're trying to put it on, they try to pop out on you, and they kind of give you a hard time. Sometimes what I'll do, in fact this one was giving me a hard time, I'll get it on 90% of the way, and then the last part that wants to keep popping off on me, I'll take it and I'll stretch it a little bit. But you do got to be careful, because if you break it, that's it. You know, you're either using your old seal over, or you're ordering another one. But eventually you'll get it in there, push it down in. But sometimes that can get frustrating, because when you get them from the factory, they come in a bag and they're all twisted up sometimes. But I was able to get this one, so we're just going to take that. I'm going to place it back on here, and put your cover bolts back in, tighten them up, and you're ready to refill up with oil. Okay, so once you get your bolts back in your side cover, I got to tighten these up yet. Once that's on, put your drain plug back in, common sense. I would get a new crush washer if it didn't come with whatever kit you bought. That'll save you from leaks later. Once that's done, at this point we got it out of the bike, obviously, because we're redoing the top end and whatnot. But I wouldn't put the oil back in it while it's on the bench until you get this back into the bike, because you're going to be, finagling this to get it in the bike, and it's going to screw things up. So I would wait till it's back in the bike. But obviously be real careful that once you put it back in the bike, you don't walk away from it for a couple days and forget to put fluid in it. And because I've been known to be forgetful sometimes, I actually put myself a note right on the bike, because sometimes I get busy at work, and I don't get back out to the garage for a week or whatever, and that would not be good. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. When you get it back in the bike, again, that's your fill hole, and once this is in the bike and the bike's level, make sure you're in a pretty flat area. That's your check bolt. Fill it up with fluid until it starts to weep out that check bolt. I'm not sure off the top of my head how much it's supposed to take, but even if you go by the manual, because the case is going to hold some of the old stuff, you're not going to get it all out. You're better off using the check bolt. But check your manual too, so you're at least close to how much they're calling for. And that's pretty much it. Put the motor back in, hook it up, and should be ready to go.